Welcome. You're watching CTV. This is the Month of the Woman, special programming that we are bringing you this entire month to celebrate women in our communities. And as we promised, we are bringing you women and the people whose careers are an example of how we can bridge the gender divide in our community for sustainable development. Now, the Uganda police force, as we know it, owes its roots to the outfit set by the British. In colonial times, a number of professions were saved for only men and boys, and that included serving in police and the army. But that changed in the 1960s when the first cohort of 10 women joined the force. And one of the most recognized names out of that cohort is Pauline Maniraguha Banjerana, who has lived to tell her story. Now, since then, over 8,000 women have walked in their footsteps, and 2 of them are here with us here in police. And the number of women serving in police has since multiplied to over 8,000. Now, we have the Commissioner of Police, Namtebi Hadija. She is the commandant of the very important Person Protection Unit, and also Vice. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. I'm glad that I'm hosted.
Okay,
on
and
CTV.
Also with us is the Senior Superintendent of Police, Rose Nahuha, the Commander of the Police Women Department. Welcome to CTV.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, viewers. I'm humbled to be hosted here.
And we are also humbled to have you with us here in studio. Now, as is the norm on Month of the Woman, we always want to know the personal stories of the people who are with us. We are curious to know, how did you get to join? I mean, before we even talk about gender equality in the force, there has to be a point of joining. How did you get to join the police force when you were growing up? Was it something that you always aspired to?
Me first?
Yes, you can go first.
Good morning, viewers of CTV.
CTV, yes.
I'm Commissioner of Police, Namtebi Hadija, as earlier introduced by the host. I'm the commandant of very important Persons Protection Unit,
yes, and
Vital Installation Security. I joined the Uganda Police Force on the 28th of February 2002. Like you asked, was it my childhood dream? Of course, we had so many dreams when we were growing up, and it wasn't part of that. But along the way, as we were growing, and the police was really trying to reach out. I remember around in the 90s, when the programs of community policing started on radios and TVs, that's when I got inspired to join the police, because I used to listen to the programs of AIGP, Asan Kasenje, and Commissioner of Police now, Kamia John, Doctor. They used to have so many programs of community policing on radios, trying to bring the communities closer to the police, explaining the role of the police, how can the members of the public work with the police to fight crime or to make communities safer. So I really felt that police was really a very important organization which somebody can be associated with and work with, because it involves working with the people, helping people, making peace. You know, that's how I got inspired. And when the police advertised in 2002, by then I was a graduate, by the way. I'm a teacher by profession, yeah, from Makerere University. And I didn't know so much how to join police, because the advert was for the lower cadres, the constables. But me, I went ahead and was recruited in, yeah, the police force. So 2002, I went for training in Masindi. The training was for 9 months. But fortunately, in 2006, police re-recruited their own people who were in the service with the degrees as in service. We are re-recruited with the newcomers from the community, the graduates, and we were shortlisted, and we are retrained with the new cadets. So that is how I have moved my journey. When we joined as cadets, with the cadets, then we are passed out as now on the level of assistant superintendent of police, and I've worked in the police training school in Kabale Masindi as an administrator, as a deputy commandant, and I acted as a commandant. I've worked as a regional police commander. So that's my story.
At the time, when you decided to join the police, what was the reaction of your family? How did you tell the news to them?
My parents encouraged me, but of course, especially here in the Central, there is a very negative attitude towards the forces. Definitely some of them were discouraging me, but when I saw some people discouraging me, I kept it to myself. I stopped telling people that I'm going to join the police. So I kept it to myself because I didn't want that negative energy from people to discourage me further, because me, I had already conceived my idea and I wanted to nurture it and I wanted to pursue it. So, but my parents were very, very encouraging, despite that I was a graduate and joining the forces at a lower level.
Yeah.
So they really encouraged me.
Ah, interesting. Officer Nahiha, do you remember that day when you joined the force, or when you made the decision to join the force?
Yes, thank you so much. It's a long story, but I'll just make it brief. My passion for joining police started way back when I wanted to join the force when I was senior 4. And my father encouraged me and said, oh, my daughter, first push on to senior 6. Indeed, I went for senior 6. Even when I wanted to drop out to join the force as a senior 6 dropout, he still encouraged me and said, can you please push on and go to the university? And when I completed my university in 2004, there was a calling. I immediately picked interest, and he really encouraged me. I joined the force in 2004 and passed out in 2005. And this is because I was consistent in my interest. So, having been encouraged to study hard, you see, I come from a place where, or from a family where girls were more than the male. And you know, our father took us on. He encouraged us to study. He never gave up. There are people who used to tell him, why are you educating girls? But our father did not give up on us. Although he passed on, may his soul rest in peace. So when we joined in 2004 as cadet ASPs, we went for the training. Our training was, we arrived in the police training school in Chibuli, and we were later taken to some place called the Butiaba. Butiaba is in, I think, Masindi. Some bush, that is where we did our training from. But when I was joining, I was very excited, so much encouraged by my father. He really, you know, I joined police, or rather I picked interest. As one, as a job. 2, I really had the passion to serve that uniform. And you know what he told me? He said, don't join as senior 4 for you to come and guard the bank.
Yeah.
He encouraged me. And said, move on, shoulder on. And that is how, when the opportunity came to join as a cadet, really, I was so excited, and given my weight or size, I didn't look back. I also moved on. And of course, when I say to guard the bank, like, he was encouraging me, not that the policemen who guard are doing something bad, but like, he was encouraging me still to move on.
So he was a man who understood how the force
The
works,
value of
and he
education.
wanted you to go to the highest. If you can go better, why start at a lower rank?
Yes, and indeed, I joined as a cadet ASP, And here I am. And when I joined, the first posting was in Interpol, National Central Bureau of Interpol, Kampala. That is the commonly known as Interpol.
Yeah.
I worked there for quite some good time, and thereafter I was brought to HRM as staff officer in police headquarters. In police headquarters, I served as staff officer for also quite some time. That is where thereafter I was taken for a course. From course, that is intermediate, I was then brought back to, again, HRM, police headquarters, went for senior command, and again came back. That is, thereafter, I was posted as the acting CP, Department of Gender / Women Affairs.
Very interesting. Yes. Earlier on, we made reference to one of the first women who joined the force. And the interesting thing about joining the force is that the adverts are always very well known and publicized, especially using the media. And Pauline tells of her story of how when the call came, it specified they wanted single women or those who were divorced. But I know that a journey has been made so far. Those stipulations are no longer there. It's about qualifications. If you can take us through the policy or the policies that have been put in place and the intentionality to change the rules so that you don't just look for police women to be single and divorced, especially since you're now working in the gender department.
I think those some of the very stringent areas, or as in some of those stringent areas have been changed or reviewed. For example, there is no specification that or calling for only women that are single. Of course, you can call for as long as people are within the age bracket, whether they are single or not single, for as long as, because even when you recruit somebody who is single, does it mean that they will never get married? That means you're putting a tie on somebody. If it is women, you're kind of saying they should relegate the natural God-given responsibilities. You know, human beings, along the way, somebody has to be in a relationship, and of course they get married. Some of those things have with the time been reviewed, and they have changed. And the calling is always to all people.
It's always on age. I mean, conscription
for
has always
as long
been
as
on
the person,
everybody.
the age and the qualification.
If you can help us and our viewers to understand or to appreciate how much change has happened in the force with the change of some of those things, you could also spell them out for us. You talked about marriage being natural. I think there was a call to speak to your supervisors before especially going to get married back in the day.
Back in the days, there was, as in you needed to seek permission before getting married, I think, to a civilian. But things have changed. That is no longer an issue, but also for as long as you can get in a relationship with somebody, a civilian, for as long as you have agreed, and also for as long as your relationship, you don't misuse that person, or you don't misuse your power or position to tint the image of the force. Yeah. So, for example, if I'm married to a civilian, and maybe I am in an operational office or any office, should I divulge information to my husband that maybe he's also going to tell it out? If there is an operation that is pending to arrest somebody or on crime, should I tell it to my husband so that he again alerts the person that is intended to for arrest? So,
course not, yeah.
all those are issues. The things have changed, and as I have said, for as long as it doesn't tint
The image of the police, of the workings of the
yes,
force.
Yes.
Officer, you joined at a time, I think when most of those laws had been made, in the 1990s. That's when I think also the Police Act was changed to make sure that it's gender neutral, because we talked about historically it used to be only men and boys, but now when you look at the Act, it says his or hers, or they just say a police officer without really specifying a policeman, which it was back in the day. What are some of the things that you appreciate and you say, thank God, I'm able to do my work because of those changes in the law?
So many things have changed. Back in the days, they would, on our ranks, they would strictly describe woman police constable, woman detective, woman, you know. But lately, we are all police officers. I can supplement on the issues of recruitment. The requirements are stipulated. For example, if they are constables, 18 to 25 years of age, maybe if they say senior 4, with these credits, with this qualification, this physically fit, and the quotas for every district are stipulated.
Yeah.
Because depending on we are guided by the statistics in government, and that is what determines the quotas per district. So depending on the population in the district, it will determine how many candidates we are looking for, and that will also determine the number of women, the minimum. But if you go above, it is even, government has stipulated 30% of all positions may be in government institutions and the other areas. So 30% as a minimum.
Yep.
If you go in an area and you have 50% of women, no harm.
Has it happened?
Yeah, still people still have some issues. People still think that this is a male
place.
Yes, a male job. But when we come here, we do stand to encourage people that no, policing has far changed. Because policing, even crime has become sophisticated. You will rarely even chase after criminals who are breaking into houses. People now sit in offices. They are using brain to commit crime. So that one doesn't really need a lot of energy, as people used to attach policing, crime, and the response.
Yeah.
That since crime is really aggressive, criminals are aggressive, so the response should be aggressive. And yet we see also women are involved in crime.
Yeah.
And policing is purely law enforcement. So we appreciate that now I can be recognized as a madam. But those days you are Namtebi Hadija, Commissioner of Police, and they are addressing you as sir.
When did that change?
So in this gender
Gradually,
mainstreaming,
yes.
and you know, trying to empower women that I'm a woman policing, not to put me in the picture of a man. Yet I'm a woman. You look at me as Namtebi, a woman, a mother, a sister. In my gender definition,
yeah.
Then relate me to the job I'm doing, not to make me, to assimilate me to the other gender, to show that I'm really working. So it gives a picture like I should emulate, or I should resemble a man to do
the job that you're doing.
This job. And yet in our own capacities as women, we can really perform the tasks
work that you're
of
doing.
law enforcement. So we really appreciate all these changes, and actually that's why I think even police administration came up with even a lot of administrative restructuring,
yes.
Creating the
That's
a
what I
department
wanted to supplement.
purely to not to put a woman, but to mitigate those issues
The
that
gaps.
can hinder a woman from effectively carrying out this policing work. So we
Does
appreciate
your
all.
department, for example, deal now if something happens to a woman and it's because you're being oppressed because you're a woman, does your department deal with that? If there are cases of sexual harassment, for example?
Just to supplement a little before we get into that,
Yeah.
I just wanted to tell you that UPF has undertaken steps, really deliberate steps to address specific gender issues in policing. And it includes like issues of discrimination or imbalances for the female. We are all given a platform, as in men and women. And in that regard, management came up with a deliberate move to create the Department of Women Affairs. How? That was after realizing that female officers, unlike their counterparts, were lagging behind. And therefore, they came up to create this department also to increase on the representation of female officers.
Lagging behind in performance?
Lagging behind in most areas of policing, in representation,
In
command,
in administration,
in administration, and therefore
training, promotions.
Yes, they had to come up with this department. And also they needed to encourage new females to join the force. And therefore they created this department, basically to handle all those gaps or to mitigate gaps, like she had said before.
Okay. One of the questions that I had always had is, when something happens to a woman in the force or anyone in the force, where do they go to report these issues?
Yes, I will first give you what the department does.
Yeah.
Because then you will be able to appreciate that the different roles or responsibilities that we do what?
That you handle.
Yes. We do advocacy. In that, we amplify the concerns raised by female officers. We coordinate all activities of gender mainstreaming in the UPF. That means we, with other stakeholders, like the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. We also perform an advisory role, advise management on issues that concern female officers. We are also a department that handles concerns related to workspace harassment.
Yeah.
And therefore, issues of harassment, whether sexual harassment, whether the workspace of the female officers should be conducive. A woman is pregnant and maybe she hasn't been listened to, but then we also encourage them. It starts with the reporting. You have to report your pregnancy. You have to notify. The supervisor will not know if you're pregnant unless you have notified him.
Right.
He will just deploy you anyhow because he's in need of manpower, and therefore when he has a task, if you haven't notified him that, you know what, I need to be given light duty, he will not be on the no. You get.
And I think
So-
also that affects how you dress up as a woman.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that you see, when you get pregnant, much as we were advocating for a uniform, when a pregnancy uniform,
Yeah.
it's also a time for you to wear civilian attire that is comfortable for you. You know, pregnancy affects women in different ways.
Right.
There are those that do not want heavy. You see this cloth or this one?
Yeah.
They are heavy. They create heat. So when you're pregnant, there are things you do not want. Maybe you want light, or you want the stretchy materials. You go in for what best
Works for you.
works for you or gives you comfort.
Right.
So in that, as I have said, as I have mentioned, some of the activities our responsibilities, among them also we champion. You see, it is through the creation of this department that we managed to have the gender policy. The UPF gender policy, and therefore we champion the dissemination, sensitization and awareness of the gender policy. And in the gender policy, it has a number of issues that are encompassed in there. Rights of the woman when they are pregnant, about transfer, about how do you handle also harassment. You see, UPF has zero tolerance policy on harassment, especially sexual harassment, and therefore those are things that cannot be tolerated.
I read somewhere that it has also, hindered also in how the promotion, because if you see very little representation at the top, and now there are also dynamics of superiority. And for someone maybe to be promoted to a higher rank, they might be subjected to that. There was a report, I think, in 2017 by a media house which quoted that.
I don't want to, because I wasn't part. I don't know what basis
they used,
and to come up with that report. But what I can say, sexual harassment, like any other institutions,
right,
or workplaces, any workspace, there is sexual harassment. But how do you empower? How do you sensitize this person not to fall a victim of such
vices and
yes,
the people with that? Yes.
Yes, but it exists. Just like you here, the staff of CTV, you have men and women. And in that, many things happen. Any workspace is bound to have issues like that.
In that policy that you've referred to, there was one of the recommendations about including gender in training. How exactly does that work, or why is it so important?
Gender, the issue of gender is already incorporated in the training curriculum, and she has ever been a commandant of the training school, the biggest training school that we have in UPF, and she can attest to that.
Right.
Yes, but we just need to keep on reinforcing and emphasizing that it is the message is, you see, when you talk of gender issues, and when people just listen to gender, they always push it, those are women issues.
And yet gender includes both men and
women. So she can supplement on that.
Thank you, Rose. To supplement on what Rose has really been trying to put across our viewers and the Ugandans, or anyone watching CTV, is that the Uganda Police Force deliberately puts up programs to ensure that all personnel of police are given equal space. But there has been issues with the women in all spheres of life. At least the efforts, including also affirmative action, to empower women and to encourage women. So we are encouraged to compete. We are not encouraged to get favors. We are not looking for favors, but to be given opportunities, the same opportunities to exercise our or to exhibit our potential.
Yes.
But because of our gender responsibilities, we can all be commissioners, but at a certain point, I'm pregnant, so I'm affected somewhere, somehow. And for my counterpart, the man, his wife may be pregnant, but she may not be a police officer, or she may be working in
you're
another
both expectant
environment.
Parents, but you're expecting in different ways.
We are expecting in different ways. So the space we need is that even as a police officer, I should also be looked at as a woman who also is responsible for other my gender roles and responsibilities, especially parenting or producing children and raising a family. So that is what the police is trying to do, especially through her department. In training, gender is already encompassed. You know, people used to fear joining police, fearing that there is a lot of harassment in training schools. I'm telling you, the most protected person in police is a trainee in the training schools, right away from the trainees, the trainers, and any other person within the premises of training school. Yeah. And it is a serious issue with a lot of serious actions in case somebody went out of their way to harass a trainee. It is very serious because we look at it that this person who is on training is vulnerable. So the issues of 18 years and above don't work because there is already vulnerability, somebody more powerful than this other person. Right. So it is really very, very serious, and people are really safe on training. So we appreciate that the police management has noticed it long ago that there were some gaps that would limit women to exhibit their potential, and they have always tried to put measures in place to ensure that we have the working space is improved. It's not yet up to the standard, and even we still advocate for more opportunities, more improvements, because even as we talk, still the representation is not. It's
not where it is supposed to be on 30%.
Where it's supposed to be, and we encourage fellow women to be competitive. Let us be competitive. Let us put up what it takes for us to compete, so that the environment that they set for us will just boost us to
greater heights,
to greater
if we
heights,
may say.
yes.
And we are going to pick from that. We're going to go for a very short break. And I know the gender office, like you mentioned, one of the mandates that you have is to retain women in the force. So we'll be talking about that when we come back from this short break. Yes, you're watching CTV, Month of the Woman, a special platform that we've created to celebrate women in community, but also to bring about people who are doing the most to improve gender equality in our communities. Going for this break? Don't blink.
Mahatma Gandhi famously said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." We all have the power to change the way we feel about ourselves, others, and the world at large. The Impact is an interactive, social, and empowering platform that showcases how different change drivers have transformed community livelihoods. We bring you real-life stories of hope, resilience, change, inspiration, and bringing stakeholders to account. Tune in to The Impact, Mondays 9 a.m. Coming soon on CTV. Don't blink. CTV is now on StarTimes. You can now catch all your favorite programs, our daily comprehensive news bulletins, and so much more on StarTimes channel number 248. Stay tuned for a world of endless possibilities. CTV. Don't blink. As we embark on a journey to realize our full potential, we all need expanded minds and limitless possibilities. We need to be accurately informed, CTV is your growth partner. With reliable, in-depth news, we tell the story from all perspectives. We bring you the story in real time. Catch our comprehensive daily bulletins in Juba Ekolobye at 7 p.m. and PM edition at 9 p.m. CTV, don't blink. Now showing on CTV. Start your day fresh with TV unlike anything you've seen before. Wake up with Sunrise at Sea for your daily dose of freshly cut stories, trending online discussions, self-care and constructive conversations. No topic is off limits. Watch Sunrise at Sea every weekday at 7 a.m. Now showing on CTV. Don't blink. This weekend on CTV.
Ntuusa okulabula kuno eri abaami mwenna abali abefudde engo okukuba abaana ab'obuwala. Kennakwata ku mwami akuba omwana ow'obuwala.
Ogenda kukola kyaliye. Bagamba gano ge mabeere ga nnyina mweru. N'obuuza galiwa n'ogamba ne bakugamba olaba ekyo emirandira gye egyenyola bwe giti ne gikola amabeere.
Geego. Kati bebi yagambye.
Ffe twategedde nti kati okwetega olina okusalaasala.
Oba yagamba bino bye bimukolera anti bwe nkyukamu bwe nti. Bino bye bimukolera.
Laba omukono
era sajja mpera akukwala ebintu byonna byagamba bijja. Gendako mu gyimu. Kakati mimi alutakutala Shamim. Kakati mimi ogeze nnyo. Njagala kumacha oli cucumber.
Natandika cucumber.
This weekend on CTV. Don't blink.
Welcome back. You're still watching Month of the Woman here in CTV with me, Amelia Martha Nashtimbo, and we're talking about gender equality in the police force. And with me is the Commissioner of Police, Namtevi Hadija, who is also the commandant of the very important Person Protection Unit of VIPU, as well as VIS. And we also have the Senior Superintendent of Police, Rose Nahuha, who is in charge of the Women Affairs Department in police. And they are telling us the strides that the force has made in ensuring that they respect the rights of women who are serving. Before we went for a short break, we were talking about the gender policy that was rolled out, I think, in December 2017. And one of the mandates is to ensure that you retain the women that join police. First of all, what are most of the issues that force women to leave the force very early?
From my experience, I'll look at mainly it's family issues. You know, when you join the force, this is Uganda Police Force.
Yeah.
And by way of appointment or posting, we are supposed to work everywhere in Uganda as by way of normal posting. So most cases, because of still our gender responsibilities, so most of the women, those who live, or one of the issues is the issue of transfers. You may find that you've worked in Kampala for maybe 2-3 years, you have formed a family, and in the next 2-3 years, they are transferring you maybe to Mbale or to Konjiri or to Masaka.
And you have to go with your children.
And then the children, you have enrolled them in school here. So for the faint-hearted, we really feel like, they give up.
Yet it's a tour of duty.
Yes, it is a tour of duty. And of course, we most of the people, once they have joined, still they want that comfort, But sometimes the demands of the force may not cater for everything. But what we normally advocate is that once you've established a family, especially legal, because what defines marriage is the legality of it. And you know, most people in Uganda, we just start staying with people. You move in, you start staying with a person,
and culturally we'll just say so-and-so's wife.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So sometimes even when like you go to her office to seek for some kind of attention that I shouldn't be moved far away from my husband, some may not have really proof that me and so we are legally married. So what we've been encouraging is that let people officialize their, because police caters for that.
Yeah.
They can really try to look into, in the transfer policy, they can look into that so and so they are a family. If we disintegrate the family, they'll try at least to deploy within the reach of your family. It may not be necessarily that you are going to stay here, but at least within the reach of your family, and it can help you to raise your family. So to me, one of the issues is that the issue of transfers from one area to far away, yet somebody has already settled with her family.
What are the expectations of tour of duty? For how long should someone, and how frequently should they move to different parts of the country?
It really depends on management, but we have a transfer policy which stipulates at least, I think, a minimum of 2 years for someone to move. But you can imagine, 2 years you are in Kampala, 2 years you are in Uganda, 2 years you are in Lyantonde, 2 years you are in Karamoja, 2 years you are in Gulu. So kind of it becomes difficult for a person. But also policing is a service.
Right.
Now what will drive for us to go through that is the passion we have to serve, and also the purpose. Why you joined the
and like you told us earlier,
yes.
You joined because you wanted to serve communities.
Yes. So the purpose definitely will those kind of inconveniences for you living away from your family may disturb you a bit, and maybe somebody thinks of quitting. But if you have the passion and the purpose why you are serving, because this you'll do tour of duty, and eventually one time somebody is going to settle in one place.
Right.
Yes.
And also to supplement, some of the reasons why maybe some have dropped out. At times you get that along the way, serving, somebody has secured, maybe has seen greener pastures elsewhere.
Well, there's another job maybe outside of the police force.
Yes, they formally leave, and they go and serve. The other could be cases of indiscipline. You see, we serve a disciplined force. The force requires that discipline is very key. And therefore, but if somebody is in discipline, they find a way. If you're taken on, they end up exiting the force. Okay. But again, the rate of indiscipline in female officers is very, very low as compared to our male counterparts.
I think because maybe naturally women try to...
Yes.
Because they know you'll be judged for being a woman anyway.
Yes.
And then there's something else that struck me. The budget. There is an insistence in police that the budgets you present must be gendered. What does that even mean?
Actually, that's not only police.
Yeah.
It's a government directive or policy that all budgets.
What does it translate into in police?
That means that all budgets in government institutions must be engendered.
Yeah.
Catering for things that can promote gender equality.
For example, in police?
In police, about budgets, all of us have to get salaries.
Right.
There's no discrimination about salaries. They are now budgeting for, like in training schools, putting in place things that can maintain
femininity.
Maintain females on training. but we are not saying males are not catered for.
Yeah.
In terms of logistics, in terms of uniforms, in terms of our aspects of
I want
policing.
to give an example.
Yeah.
I want to supplement on that. For example, she has brought in the issue of logistics. I want to majorly talk about vehicles. Do you realize that the vehicles that transport officers or personnel is not so female sensitive?
How so?
How so? The trucks that transport our officers.
Oh, you mean the very big trucks?
Yes,
not
the troop
small
carriers. Let me call them the troop carriers.
Right.
Eh? Do you know if a female officer is wearing a trouser or even a skirt and there is that height, really, a man can just come in but
he jumps.
a female, as we serve the force, we should maintain that femininity,
like she mentioned.
Yes, like how she mentioned. And therefore, like we are advocating that there should be, what can I say?
Like ladders?
The ladders created that when people are going to board, they put it there for the female to do what?
To gracefully
to ease boarding of the female, because you may be lifting your leg and the trouser gets torn. It's not that you can't. You can, but again, you should maintain that so that you don't get into...
Yeah, she highlighted it very well to say that yes, you're a police officer, but there's still that woman in you, and the woman in you shouldn't be lost.
So it is engendering is to cater for that. Let it not only be inclined that as you're purchasing in terms of logistics, you should not, if it is sewing uniform, don't just sew as though you're sewing for all the male.
And you talked on something that I find interesting. You're wearing a skirt right now,
yes.
And back in the day, that wasn't there. It was changed at some point. If you can tell us about that, how the change came about.
Actually, initially, it was the dresses and the skirts for senior officers. Then along the way, I think police became so operational, and it went like on the issue of trousers. But currently, it's optional. So if you feel comfortable on trousers, you put on trousers. You feel comfortable on skirts, you put on the skirts. And to go back on the budgets being engendered, when police is budgeting, it's not only budgeting internally for internal, because we are policing the community, the infrastructure we have in terms of our police stations, the detention facilities, because when people come to the different units of police, we receive male, female. We have also other gender issues of the people with the disabilities, all those other issues. So police budget must cater for all those issues. When people with a disability are coming, have you put now our new infrastructure? Now you'll realize that all our structures must cater for people with a disability, not only ladders. We must on the side put the ramp.
Yeah.
So engendering a police budget, not only looking inward to how police women or police, but also
the clients
that we receive. On our detention facilities, there must be facilities for male, for females, and for children in conflict with the law, or we have other children or other people who find themselves at police stations.
Right.
How do we cater for all those other gender issues?
And in that regard, to supplement, when UPF has received has made a budget, our role as a department, our input is sought to really ensure that it is engendered.
Right.
Yes.
Still on the issue of retention or even recruitment. You shared your personal stories with us at the beginning of the show, and you told us you joined because of the passion to serve. But there are people who also look at the conditions that the police officers are living in, and they say, you know what, no, I don't think I'll join the police force because of that. What, for those of you who are inside of police, what is being done to, change? And especially, I think that also affects the women even more when you have your families that are living in the conditions that you're living in.
I think, can I go first?
Yes, please.
Of course, we are not going to say that it's all rosy in the police. Police is a government organization. We are being paid salaries like any other. So some people, they may look at our salary and say, this is really very low salary. But we are not the least paid. So the government has salary scales which run across. So when you see a salary of a constable in the police, maybe is equivalent to a salary of a primary teacher, a salary of a prisons officer, a salary of a private in the army.
Yeah.
So some people may look at it and say, no, I cannot work for this. And also some of the issues we have around, like our barracks and our accommodation facilities may not really be very appeasing to some people, and they think, no, I think I cannot. But there are deliberate efforts by government, because police is a government institution. Yeah. So our budget is funded by government. So there are deliberate efforts to ensure that there is improvement in the welfare of the police officers. I think it's now in Kampala where accommodation is not really very good, but at least the upcountry stations, especially like in the north and the Karamoja region, yeah. The barrack accommodation has really improved, and police officers are living decently.
What's happening in Karamoja that can be replicated here? Of
course, now it is these things are in phases, yeah. in phases. You know, we used to have difficulties deploying in Karamoja, being a hard-to-reach area. Yeah. So a deliberate effort was made to at least to improve first in the welfare there, to attract people and to retain them to work there. So I think, priorities, there are always priorities. Right. So a person sleeping badly in Kampala and a person sleeping badly in Karamoja, when you weigh, where do you first work? Somebody would assume. And there are serious issues. There are cattle rustling, serious issues. So deliberate efforts were made that they first improve, but deliberate efforts are in place to improve. It has even been on floor of parliament to support the budget of police, to improve on the welfare of the police police officers. We have a welfare department to strictly look into the welfare of police officers in terms of medical, in terms of education. Police is coming up. We want to actually to construct a police referral hospital.
Right.
Yes, a police referral hospital to cater for all the conditions of the police officers. Because if somebody is seriously sick from Kabale or from where, and is supposed to be referred to Mulago, is supposed to be referred to these big hospitals, it has been difficult to maintain the different officers from different, but those that hospital will strictly work on those serious conditions that cannot be worked on. There are efforts to establish police children's schools per region, in secondary schools and primary schools to cater for the children of police officers. All this is work in progress, and the discussions around them are almost complete, and very soon we shall see the welfare of police really improving. That in terms of accommodation, efforts are there. In terms of education, in terms of medical, and the general welfare. And we have the police exodus circle to cater for police officers to access cheap loans Of course, there were issues around it, but at least the new management and the new board has really worked around and has greatly improved, and our officers are now beginning to enjoy the benefits of their own circle, where they save and they also go and get cheap loans to improve on their welfare.
The welfare.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I think that falls.
No, she has well put it, but as you know, just to supplement, as you said, issues of welfare, as you know, affect women. Our female officers are more affected. But what we have done when we go out to the field, especially related to workspace, we encourage the unit commanders to at least use the available resources or welfare to ensure that women are given at least better, or they are enabled. Because if you're sharing accommodation with a male officer, it may be quite challenging, but we encourage the unit commanders to at least make it in such a way that maybe a female is sharing with a female officer. So, and also related to workspace, we encourage the unit commanders that much as we are still lagging behind in terms of welfare, and as we wait for government to do something, at least we shouldn't have female officers run to the bushes. No. We use what is available, we commit, we encourage them to at least allocate a specific toilet for the female officers, and so that this eases, because female officers, the females are more vulnerable to things like hygiene, the effects of hygiene. So
of poor hygiene, yes.
Yes, poor hygiene. So that was just additional, but she has put it well.
So all that was in terms of retention.
Yeah.
So if the problems we have in police can make female officers leave or not even to join.
Yeah.
But the measures in place, if achieved, will help a long way in retaining and even attracting more women
and
in joining
we are patient. We also need to exhibit patience. As we wait for government, we do not give up. We continue serving amidst all those challenges.
Yeah.
We continue to serve. So
this
patience,
is a service.
We are disciplined, we are patient, and therefore we continue to shoulder alone amidst those challenges.
One of the things that I've seen you advocating for is the promotion of women to more high ranks, because the representation at the top might be missing. And if I may relate it to those who want to join, now they see there are police officers there in police, and so they know they're role models to emulate. But even you in police and other cadres who are there, they want to see more women at the top. If you can tell us more about that advocacy that you've been sharing.
Yeah, that advocacy is on, but again, it starts with the public.
Yeah.
And in that, I have been appealing to the public that anytime there is opportunity, when police when there is a calling for people to join, we encourage the people.
So
to
the
send
public
us
is
their
in
children.
joining. It starts with that.
Yes, it starts with the
it's a
people.
job like any other.
It starts with the public. Encourage. Because then, if you have the public are the people.
Yeah.
Our parents, our aunties, our uncles, the business community, they have children.
Yeah.
And therefore, they need to, once they appreciate us, or if there are people that really have helped them and they have seen that really this job is good, they encourage the young people in case there is a calling, to join. But again, it all goes, of course we have different levels of joining. And therefore, at whatever level that is put across for people to join, they join. But also, we encourage the management that much as this is for people who are already in service, we encourage management and we beg them that much as we have the female officers, give them an opportunity. Give them an opportunity to exhibit, to showcase what they can. Because if you don't give me an opportunity, it then means you will not know what I can do, because there is a saying that what a man can do, a woman can do, but maybe a woman can even do it better. So, it's a deliberate effort by the public, by management, and also to us. And to us, for example, to the female officers, we have to really exhibit and show that really, much as we are competing to be at the same table, we should also measure up. We should pull up our socks. We should have interest. We should be dedicated towards our work.
I'd like to believe that you do have officers who measure up, yeah?
Yes, they have. And they measure up, but then it's upon management to give them an opportunity. But to our officers, most of the time, as we had said, we have challenges, we become pregnant. You know, that is a natural responsibility given to us by God. But then, if we are selected to go like for courses, career path development, most of the time, maybe we don't want, we fear, you know, but there are things we do. We need to multitask. We need to much as the men are having their women, when they are selected, for them it's very quick, they go. But for us, at times, we are thinking of our children, we want to put emotions. So, still, I encourage our female officers that when you're selected to go for a course, you go for any training, because there is no way you can develop if you don't go through the career path development as a requirement by the institution. Therefore, this, if given, if they are using it as a yardstick for promotion, then it places you, it makes you more eligible as compared to somebody that has not done what? That has not gone for that training. So I encourage us to always perceive training with positive attitude. Right, and
the recommendations usually for promotions are made by you or by the other officers. What journeys or what is being made to ensure that more names of female police officers are forwarded so that they go to higher and higher ranks?
Definitely. There are procedures followed when they are calling for recommendations.
You could even share with us, actually, because you're one of the highest ranking officers. How was it for you?
No, we have police has a appointment and promotions committee.
Right.
And the names are presented or are called for. If there are any appointments, names are tabled in that promotions and appointments committee, and each and every one is verified according to their capabilities.
Right.
And if a woman qualifies, takes it. For example, this position I'm holding, this department is under the Directorate of Counter-Terrorism, and since its establishment 2008. I'm the first female commandant. And I understand when they were looking for the commandant for that time, and my name was present, and they said yes, and I was vetted and I was posted there. So the promotions, it is systematic in police. We have a promotions and appointments committee. Names are tabled. So I would encourage that fellow female officers that we exhibit our potential, that when your name is presented there, it is really competitive.
Yeah.
And we also encourage that our bosses give more space to the women, so that we can also exhibit our capabilities. And I would also encourage that us who are already in these positions do actually have a lot to do to prove that women are capable of taking command, taking leadership, so that they can see if Namtevi is doing well, we can have another Namtevi elsewhere, we can have another Rose elsewhere, and we shall build confidence
the new people
in management that women can do as good as the men, or even better.
Are there opportunities you've been taking to mentor? Maybe you identify and you say, okay, this person is very young, I think should become the next Namtevi.
Very, very much, because like we have programs where us senior police officers go and interact with the other junior female officers.
Right.
Basically to empower them, to encourage them, and to build the confidence and to mentor them. And also there is a deliberate effort that by management, or through even their her department, of identifying talent or capabilities in women. And I think she has the statistics of the DPCs in command, district police commanders,
right,
regional police commanders, OC stations, heads of departments. Maybe we are not much doing very well up there, because in the AIGPs, directors, we have
I think
Madam
Grace
Akulo,
Akulo, yes.
Madam Akulo.
Isn't she the only AIGP that we have in the country?
Yes, but we have senior...
Who is female?
Yeah, we have Senior Commissioner Anne Tusime, Senior Commissioner Nanding, Anne is Deputy Director HRD, and Madam Nanding is Deputy Director Legal and Human Rights. Then you come down to the commissioners. Commissioner Namtevi Hadija, we have Commissioner Chelimo Biata.
Yes.
Who is in CID, Deputy Director
CID.
And I think she did some very interesting, she did a dissertation on the rights of women in police that was all encompassing, I think that was also a part of advocacy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then you come, we have assistant commissioners, who are also deputies in departments or heads of departments, and then lower. But us who are already there, we should really try to encourage, mentor, build the confidence, and bring on board, and also show management that they create for us more space. Not even creating, but give us opportunities,
right,
that we do bring more women
on board
at the higher ladder. At and least down we are.
Yes, you wanted to supplement.
And to supplement on that, we have, like she said, we have presented role models, and as a department, this same we do it to the different regions and stations.
When you say you've presented role models, in what way have you presented them?
We have presented role models, senior officers who are female officers, to mentor, to talk, to interact with the junior officers, to encourage them, to give their stories of how far they have come from, where they are, how have they achieved this milestone.
Yeah.
Was it through sleeping with the male officers? Because then that is the sexual harassment maybe we are talking about. But most of them, and actually have gotten to this through merit. They have worked for it. They have exhibited hard work, discipline, and all that.
Right.
So when we go out to the field as a department, we go out to sensitize our female officers, and of course we have a program the area of male engagement. We also engage the male to support the, to act as champions of like positive masculinity, and then to encourage men, women, to support women, to change mindset change, to change perception and attitude towards how they think and towards female. And therefore, as I said, when we go to the field, the different stations, we talk to people, our officers, in the areas of sexual harassment or harassment at workplace. Empowerment, we have programs on empowerment in different aspects. We have, like I said before, we champion the dissemination awareness of the gender policy. They must be aware that this is, this policy exists, and therefore what is entailed in there. Among other issues, we tackle a number of issues and we interact. We build confidence. We help the women. We encourage them to know or to be aware about their rights. We give them confidence that here we are to advocate for you. We exist once you have any challenge, because if it is sexual harassment, many fear to report. But again, many report when things have gone bad.
And I think one of the reasons why they might fear to report is you might be reporting someone who is higher in rank, and those who have to deal with them are their peers.
The force has a mechanism for handling that.
Yeah.
We have the different departments. We have PSU, we have legal. If we feel that maybe this officer is very high, still there are different directorates that we engage. Whatever we do not do it in isolation. We do it in partnership with our other directorates.
Even other procedural issue, because police has a way we do operate, standard operating procedures.
Right.
There are mechanisms of, we have chain of command, we have mechanisms of reporting. So even if you are reporting a senior officer, there are ways. Actually, part of it is their department. Right. We also have the other department of Child and Family Protection Unit. Some of the issues will fall under, may not necessarily be women
sexual, but it might be as a result
of family issues. So we have the Child and Family Protection Unit,
that be
which caters for public and as well as the police officers.
So that would be the family of where you have maybe police officers, both spouses or the couple is in the force, or if also the other part of the couple is out of the force.
Exactly. Yes. If there are any issues. So the issues of somebody harassing me is a senior officer, and therefore I cannot report, then that could be your problem. But we do, of course, it is not easy, because harassment is also not an open thing.
Yeah.
So it may not be easy, but we encourage the people who are harassed. Even men may be harassed.
Of course.
And even of recent, we have had even the public. You see, we have very young officers that recently passed out. These are, even if they are above 18, but they are still young. So even the public are harassing our girls, but still we encourage them.
So people receive harassment, not necessarily from the police, but we do encourage that. The training even we do, also help us to go about to respond. How do you respond? Because there are some people in the community there. They look at you in uniform, they say, how did you get to the uniform? Others just want to come and
take advantage
of you. How is it like to deal with the police officer? So, and others may go even out of their way. But
use you.
Us, how do you respond?
Yes.
How do you respond? How do you handle yourself? Matters a lot. And our emphasis is on that, because we may not have the capacity to go and handle the other people. But the capacity we have is to
in-house
to how do we respond.
And in your department, the gender, though it's gender and women, of course gender, as we mentioned earlier, includes both men and women. What are some of the issues that you find very specific to the male officers that, you know, the women might not relate with, that you might be working on right now, or you're planning to implement?
Issues that are not,
that affect the male gender as well, because we're dwelling so much on the women, but the men, like we mentioned,
yes,
they also have their issues that concern them.
Yes. For example, in the area of harassment does, or much as it's more, we know that it's the female that are more harassed, but even male, a person comes and reports harassment by a female officer, but the
females, they also harass.
They also harass the male officers.
They are male. They are bosses, especially.
And bosses, not the other way around.
Of course, now with the harassment, like we said, it is silent.
Yeah.
But somebody can do actions that are harassing the other person, and in one way or the other, the male officer may be very uncomfortable. But as it is, that most cases, the males have this, their masculine superiority, that they don't report some of those cases. But they can be uncomfortable, and it can really make them, it can even make it difficult for them to preside over or to administer that person who is harassing them. But should he mention it, it is really difficult for them to be believed. So it is always the other way. So they have that issue.
Yeah.
That even when you are harassed as a male,
to present a platform or to encourage the men to speak out when they face harassment.
What we do when we go out to the field, we sensitize both the male and the female, but we have a specific program to target only male. You see, when the department was created, it was more inclined to handling female police officers' concerns. But again, there is no way you can move ahead without the male. And therefore, because even if it is sexual harassment, and you're going to think that it's only the male that are harassing, but then they are working together.
Right.
So we have programs. As I had said, one of it is male engagement. So when we go out to the field, we have the general, where we have that one specific for male, only male. We have that one for only female, but again we have for both. And then we also have sessions to have a one-on-one talk with the female officers, how they carry themselves, how, turn out and all that, how they can improve on their work. For example, did you know that we also handle issues of gossip?
Of gossip in the force?
Yes, we shouldn't be there just to be looked at as gossipers. And therefore, our female officers are changing.
To stop the gossip. I think gossip happens both ways anyway.
That's just an example, as in the turnout. You're supposed to appear smart. We shouldn't be lousy. You have seen the comparisons that are always made on social media in the area of police. They bring Nigeria police, and then CG Cameroon, and then they bring maybe Kenya, and then Uganda, and then you know those things I'm talking about. Right. So we also encourage we talk to our female officers on turnout.
On turnout.
Yes.
Well, we are coming to the end of the show, and I'll encourage you to give just your parting shot, the last, in a sentence, one word that you're sending out there on the journey that police is making towards achieving gender equality. You could give it to the fellow police officers, management, or the general public. The ball is in your court.
Okay. Once again, thank you very much for hosting us on CTV. And I thank the viewers who have been there all this time with us. I would encourage the public, always when police puts an advert, policing is good. It's a public service job, it's a service. You serve humanity. And policing when you're a woman is even better. So please give an opportunity to any young lady out there who qualifies to join police. To the police management, we thank you for the efforts you are putting in place to level the ground or to improve the environment under which women are policing. And to the government, we really thank you for giving us opportunity to serve Ugandans in this capacity, but we also request that you do a lot of support in terms of budgeting, and so that the welfare is improved, and once the welfare is improved, professionalism will improve. So thank you very much once again. To the fellow police officers, please, especially the women, let us exhibit our potential. Let us not limit ourselves. Let us do what it takes so that we can promote women and encourage others to join the force. To go to the ranks that you need them to.
Yes. Rose, your parting shots.
Thank you, thank you. First of all, thank you. I appreciate the CTV for this opportunity. We thank government. Government has already leveled the 30% right from the Constitution. We also thank UPF for deliberately coming after realizing that we were lagging behind against our male counterparts. They came up to form up this department. We thank them. And indeed, they have been so supportive to the department in ensuring that the mandate is realized. But also we thank our partners, for example, UN Women, that they have also been so good, and in that they have been supporting UPF officers in the area of transformational leadership. In this, it encourages, first of all, that training builds confidence for the female officers, and also the training is so important, and it's also to encourage women to take up leadership positions, and Madam has already done it. Yeah. And really we are proud of her, because after that, that is when even she was appointed the commandant VIPPU. And then as we celebrate this month, we celebrate our achievements. I appreciate all the efforts put across by female officers in carrying out or executing our duties. And I encourage them really to continue. Let them showcase what they have, let them exhibit discipline, let them put in more effort in saving life and property. And to management, still, although I have thanked them, but I still request that they give us opportunity to exhibit and showcase what we have. There is no way that we shall be known unless you have given us opportunity. Already we have started seeing, but still we need more opportunity. We need the representation to increase. We need more to be visible in some of the areas, and generally in policing. So it can't be done unless they have deliberately come up, because there are women who meet. If it is training, women have gone for training. They have the guidelines. There are women who meet those guidelines, and
indeed,
therefore
I'm sure the management has had, and
many.
they will work on that.
Yes,
From only 10 police officers in the 1960s, we now have over 8,000 women police officers who are serving in the Uganda Police Force, and that's just 19% representation of the entire force, and we're looking at achieving 30% as has been set out by the Constitution. This has been Month of the Woman here in CTV. We've been talking about gender equality in the force, looking at the journey that has been taken from then up to now. Thank you so much for staying with us. More conversations will be coming up for you and more programming is lined up for you. You can share your feedback on what you think about today's conversation or add what you think using our social media platforms at CTV Uganda, also me at Amelia Martha Nashtim at Amelia Martha 1. Thank you and goodbye.